We are back on Morning Line. Nick Barris along with Allison Fields. I know I'm going to ask the burning question you all are wondering. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I haven't had breakfast yet.
She's a trooper, and yet her blood sugar is elevated. It's where it needs to be to answer your questions.
Yeah.
You feeling okay? Not lightheaded or anything?
No.
She's a veterinarian. The number 737-7587 as I look in the monitor there. It's there. Questions, comments, and we have someone, Wayne, who waited through the break. So we're going right to Wayne.
Yes.
Wayne, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hi, Wayne. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Nick.
Good.
I've got 7 dogs.
Wow.
And they're all Chihuahuas, and they're mixed with, I think it's called Papalian. And some of them are slick-haired. And the ones that are not have skin allergies. Their skin dries out.
You mean the longer-haired ones?
Is there something I can give them to keep the skin from drying out?
Well, I think that probably a visit to your vet to see exactly what the problem is would be the best step, because there's a lot of different skin problems and conditions and diseases, and depending on what it is, it might be a different medication from another problem. So I would definitely suggest that you see your vet and see, what they can come down to, what exactly the problem is. And a lot of times longer hair dogs have more flea allergies because the fleas are easier to run. They can run away and hide in the big forest of all the hair. So flea control on everybody would be very important. But I would definitely take the ones that are affected in to see your vet and see if they couldn't figure out what the problem is so that we know how to address it.
Do you give your dogs baths often or use a shampoo or anything?
Yeah, we use medicated allergy shampoo.
Oh, okay. Well, then if it's not that, yeah.
I thought it might be something that, you could just feed them. Like, if you feed them food with a meal in it, I had a dog years ago that had an allergy to that. And, of course, I'll carry them to the vets, and, the vet doesn't tell me if there's something I can give them at home to do it. Usually it turns into an infection when I have to carry them. They call it yeast infection, I think.
Huh, well, that's the thing. That's where you have to go to a vet to, I suppose, figure it out.
To figure it out is hard.
It could be food. Like you've said, wasn't there a dog where you switched from whatever to like lamb and rice instead, food, and it helped their skin?
Well,
Beetlejuice has contact dermatitis, and food helps him. What? Our beagle does. Right. So listen, it's not all science. Ooh, we got to do all these testing. Sometimes you just mess around with the food.
Okay. Let me just explain something to you guys that will make your life a whole lot better and a whole lot cheaper. I promise. When dogs get food allergies, the only way to figure it out is to be on a restricted protein and carbohydrate diet for 3 to 4 months with nothing else. No bones, no milk bones, no raw hides, no people food, no potato chips.
Fettuccine? Okay,
you be quiet. Nothing. And so what happens is that a lot of people will say, I think my dog's allergic to this food. And they're like, hey, I'm going to go try this food. And they keep doing this, and they're not doing it appropriately, and they're not doing it for long enough, and now they've exposed the dog to every kind of food that's out there, which makes it very difficult for us as veterinarians to help you because your dog's been exposed to all of this stuff. So now we have to jump straight to the expensive prescription food because you fed your dog all of this stuff. I have a almost 3-year-old dog. She has eaten the same food. Time out. 2 different foods, both chicken. She's always been on chicken. She was on a chicken Purina Pro plan, and I switched her to a different Purina, but it's still chicken, and so she's only on chicken, period. She will only ever be on chicken until I decide that maybe she has food allergies, and I will do a food trial with that onto a different food.
But she's okay now.
Oh, she's fine. She's perfectly fine. Okay. She's never had a problem. But I'm not switching her food because we can develop allergies later in life, just like all of us. We all weren't born with seasonal allergies.
That's exactly right.
They come on later. People who didn't live in Nashville until they moved to Nashville develop allergies.
Humans get food allergies all of a sudden.
Right. And so, there's a really weird one that's from a tick bite that makes you allergic to red meat. It's crazy. We'll talk about it in a minute. Yeah. But anyway, try to feed your dog the same protein base, and it's not really about the brand. If you're feeding a chicken, stick with chicken.
Yeah.
If you're feeding beef, stick with beef. If you're feeding lamb, stick with lamb.
You said that before. That's
but
smart.
they just make, you know, it's all about marketing. You go to the store and oh my gosh, there's venison and there's this and there's that and there's all these things and we want to get this time because he's never had it, and oh my gosh, this would be a treat. And it's all about the marketing. You know, if your dog is currently on venison, leave him on venison. He doesn't need chicken, he doesn't need beef, because it's going to make your world a whole lot easier, our world a whole lot easier, and your pocket a little bit heavier.
It's great advice, and you've said that before. Stick with that one food, and if something develops, it's a lot easier to figure it out. Good. You know, when he was talking about the coats, it just made me think about different dogs with different fur. Now, we've got 2 pugs. We have Rocky, which my wife, I think, said has a double coat.
Yeah.
And then we have Betty, and hers is very soft and, you know, pliable and thin. And washing her, she dries in the media. Rocky, it's like washing a wool blanket, and he's so heavy. And they're the same exact breed dog. Obviously, we say Rocky has an unfortunate body type. But he has okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. What's a double coat? It's just so thick.
It's a term, I think, that was coined by breeders, but I don't know that it's truly a double coat, but that's an easy way to describe it. It's like there's pugs that have like that slick hair, and then there's pugs that have like this hair that's
so
thick. Yeah, and
the only thing that works is the Furminator. The Furminator
Love
is
a Furminator.
They're great brushes, and they're worth every penny, and they are a little more expensive. Well, gosh, that's your dog brush, a Furminator. Let's go to Jewel. Hi, Jewel.
Good morning, Mr. Nick.
Good morning.
How are you, Miss Fields?
I'm good. How are you?
Hunky dory. I'm so glad to see you back on the program. It's always interesting. Of course, always a guest star, but I've got a comment. I'll try to make it brief. As you know, in the past, I've had these here kitty cats, and I'm doing my best. I had 2 different mama cats that each one had 3. It was their first litter, and they hung in there pretty good. All right, but the one mama kitty cat had 2 babies that got a gray, matted, pussy stuff coming out of their eyes and nose, and she abandoned them. I called around, and I went on, found out to go to Co-op and get like a replacement milk, but the 2 of them ended up passing it anyway. I just wonder, is that something in their system? Is that something, medicine I could get to prevent that or make it go away? I mean, it bothers me that these little kitty cats, they cry because their mother won't feed them.
Yeah, I think
they abandon them. They're just ill, and they just don't want to mess with them already.
Yeah. So in situations like that, your best bet is to take them to the vet, so that the vet can assess the situation and hopefully get some medication to help them. So that I don't know exactly what the problem was because I didn't see them, which makes it really hard to kind of guess. But I think that anytime you have an animal that's not doing appropriately, whether it's eating, nursing, anything, I think that your best bet, if you are trying to help it, is to go to the vet and see what they might suggest that you can do.
It does seem, and it reminds me of a case with a friend of mine who had a cat. It's extreme to me. It's almost as though nature kicks in and these mother cats or dogs or whatever have a sixth sense when they can tell when they have a litter and there is a kitten, and something's just not right. Now, that's not in humans, but they literally, there was a case where a cat had a litter and abandoned, they took all the others and left one there. And this one was rescued, and that one, when it grew up, turned out to be a chupacabra.
Well,
that cat was just insane, and somehow this mama cat clearly recognized there was something wrong with that cat.
She didn't recognize that it was going to turn into a chupacabra.
Why did she leave him and save the others?
What happens is that they get their bonding time when the kittens or the puppies are nursing. If somebody gets sick, they're not scrabbling in there and trying to nurse. So they're not getting that bonding time. So mom's really hasn't bonded with them, so she ends up leaving them. Okay. What happens with kittens, this is an interesting concept. Kittens that are bottle raised, singlets, like the one that turned into chupacabra. They always do that. You get one kitten and you're bottle raising it and you're loving on it. You're not providing, as hard as you try, the negative feedback from mom with bad behavior. And they always turn out to be chupacabras. Always.
That's
Every
so interesting.
single one.
Because all this time,
My Oliver,
Yeah.
chupacabra.
Yeah, they're just spoiled and they just
Now,
jump and
in groups, because I bottle raised, I don't know, 6 or 8 kittens at one time years ago when I could not sleep. And they all turned out and were normal. So they have that interaction with each other and they figure it out. But when they're singlets, they're
so
going to be
interesting.
chupacabras.
So you don't think they're, and that makes perfect sense. I'm so glad you shared, because all this time I thought maybe
No.
now, is it not true? Can there not be animals that are born just as in the human world that maybe have something not quite right upstairs, one way or the other, and they're not
absolutely.
behaving right, and there's something seriously wrong? And in the human
Yes.
world, obviously, we can find ways to help people that are born this way. But in the cat world, maybe the cat recognized this little kitten, because of whatever shortcomings mentally it has, is not going to survive in life. I'm just not going to waste time with it. Does that happen?
I think it does. But I don't know that they recognize it, that it's a mental issue as much as there's just something
They're not
off.
instinctually working the way they should.
Yeah.
And
But
that
no,
is fascinating.
Oliver was a singlet, raised,
yeah, this
bottle
cat
fed.
was nuts. All right, we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, more of your phone calls. Our final segment with Allison Fields. Learn something every time you come on.
I know,
just
I
love
try.
it. We'll be right back.